What up, though? You listening to Head Cannon Graps, and today we are bringing to you an all-in Texas preview. I know we talked about the John Cena video, but with his last couple of promos, I'm gonna need just a little more time to cook up on that video. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, between time, I want to keep you all with something content-wise, and so we had an all-in Texas preview video getting us ready for July 12th, 2025, an event that I'll be at there live, but we'll be kind of dipping into some of our old ideas from the Willow Nightingale Journey to the Top video, but let's focus on Arlington, Texas, Globe Life Field Stadium, where this event will be taking place. First, to get there, we gotta go through Dynasty, where Swerve Strickland, he's going to take that AEW championship definitely off of John Moxley. It's about time that we have an end to the Death Rider story when it comes to the world title. I don't think the full-on Death Rider story comes to an end until All in Texas, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But we get through Dynasty, Swerve defeats John Moxley for the AEW World Championship. And then I think we kind of dip into a feud that we teased in December of 2023 when MJF was still world champion. There was the Who Was the Devil storyline, and Swerve Strickland was teased to be the devil at one point, but this was when Swerve was just getting done with Hangman and starting his ascension towards the world title. They kind of were crossing paths, but they never actually had a match, and so I think it's time we finally tap into that. And so at Double or Nothing, MJF has been on this quest for the world title the whole year. I think MJF goes and faces Swerve Strickland at Double or Nothing, but he loses. And Swerve moves on, because to me, the world title scene needs to have these big stars, these big moments, and these big title matches. That Swerve's title run last time kind of got cooking after the Christian Cage match, but let's not waste any time. We're coming back to Double or Nothing again, where his first title defense will be. Let's make it something big, and MJF is a big match. And that leads me to the thumbnail. All in Texas. We're gonna have Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland, right? Wrong. It's actually not gonna be that match. It's gonna be at Forbidden Door, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. And Will's gonna find his path to Forbidden Door at All in Texas. But Swerve deserves to win at the big show of the year. He's been one of the biggest stars. And to me, the biggest match to highlight him at All in Texas is going to be him versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas barbed wire death match, where they're going to rerun it back again with where they failed with John Moxley and Kenny Omega at Revolution. I think you do it one more time, and it's your biggest show of the year with what feud that has the most intensity behind it in AEW history. It's going to be Hangman and it's going to be Swerve Strickland. This is going to be their final match, and they're going to blow it off for the world title. And in the match, Swerve gets his lick back from the cage match. Swerve wins at All in Texas, taking him to Forbidden Door to face Will Ospreay in their round 2 match at Forbidden Door. Hey, just like Swerve won at Dynasty, I think Will runs it back at Forbidden Door, especially since it's going to be in London, being the most key part of that story. London, that hometown win. I thought maybe he'd walk in as champion and win at Texas, but no, I think him winning in London, calling his shot, Swerve being the person he has to take it off of, the one that said you didn't have the killer instinct before, well, hey, Will to prove he does have the killer instinct now, and to win that championship, I think would be an amazing kind of kickoff to his title reign. And doing it in London would be a great way to have that kind of home crowd feel. So, what do y'all think about that? Drop a comment below. But I think there's going to be some other combinations to some stories, like Hangman and Swerve's coming to an end. I think that Kenny Omega and Okada are going to unite not only the Continental Championship, but the International title at All in Texas. And I think Kenny Omega is going to be the one to win this match. think it's to boost up his legacy. I don't think Okada really gains anything by holding on to two titles now and moving forward. At this point, I think it's time for Okada to rest from this mid-card range, and then kind of when he comes back to television, start to focus towards the world title. But I think this is also to help boost Kenny back up as a single star. And what better way than to have one of his biggest rivals at one of the biggest shows of the year, to have his singles display be that, and to put some real big importance behind those mid-card titles. We've seen that happening constantly over the last few title reigns of both champions, but I think it's also time to bring the Continental Championship to a close, because it should just be a tournament at this point, which we've got plenty of tournaments in AEW, but I think that's just the route to go. But to also bring something else to a close, I think it's time for Darby Allin to face Jon Moxley in a one-on-one match. And yeah, this was the match that everybody thought was originally going to happen for the AEW World Championship. But who's to say still can't happen and have some importance to it, in the sense of getting Darby ready for that next level. One of his most pivotal wins in his entire time in AEW history, beating Jon Moxley at one of the biggest shows in a singles match. Like they say, Jon Moxley doesn't give out too many of his wins to folks, and so to give it to Darby, I think would be a great moment for him and to boost him up for the future. I think Darby's title win comes sometime next year. I don't know when, maybe Revolution next year, but I don't think it's any time during 2025, just due to his hike, his time going to Mount Everest. I just don't think it's time to put him in the plans anymore. But with that being said, what time it is for, it's time to run back Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS title, and all in Texas. I had other plans initially, but then my heart got swung at the end, and I think this is one of the biggest matches you can do, and to me, I want to be there live for this match. I need to see this match live, because this was, for a very long time, my favorite women's match in AEW history. I currently have it at the street fight between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander, but hey, I'm looking to see something else. I'm looking to see something crazy in person, so I'm also looking to see Willow Nightingale defeat Mercedes Moné to end the TBS title reign in Texas. I think that would be a great way to highlight and to kick off a bigger singles reign for Willow Nightingale, something she has deserved and, in my opinion, earned at this point. So I think she kicks off her TBS title reign. I initially had her kicking it off at Revolution and going into Texas, defending her belt against Toni Storm, but that's from my other video. But, you know, let's see where she goes with this. I hope she does get the belt in Texas. But to lead to another women's match, I believe we're going to have a gauntlet match to determine the number one contenders. Just almost similar to the men's. And we're going to have Deonna Purrazzo, Jamie Hayter, Sky Blue, Chris Statlander, Queen Aminata, Julia Hart, and Mariah May. And my heart initially said Mariah May in this match, but I'm going Jamie Hayter, because also it's time to feel that hometown love, and I think Jamie Hayter cashing that in, as long as we don't have like a Stardom talent come over, I think Jamie Hayter cashes that in, goes to London, and faces the Women's World Champion for the title there. We'll get to who the Women's World Champion is a little bit later as well, but I think that's where the title will get cashed in, that moment, going to Jamie Hayter. So, but speaking of the champion, I think we are going to have an ROH versus AEW Women's World Championship title for title match. Not a unification, but just both titles are on the line for the women's. I think Athena goes through the Owen Hart tournament, and I think going in as women's champion, I'm undefeated, the forever champion. Now I want more gold. I see what Mercedes is doing. I want more. So I'm going after that. I see Athena going after Toni Storm. Tony Storm having a good title reign, defeating some up and comers and some other people along the way, up to the point where she's gonna lose to Athena at All In Texas. Texas being Athena's hometown, home state. I think it's right. I think it works. But speaking of other crowning moments, I think we finally put an end to this learning tree stuff because I don't think it ends with Bandito. I think it ends with Powerhouse Hobbs. And I think Hobbs is going to be the one to take the ROH World title off of Chris Jericho and send Chris Jericho away for a while. I hope he does. He needs to go away. The man is crusty in my opinion. But it's time for Hobbs to do what he does and get a bigger highlighted moment. And I think he deserves a world title, but he's not going to get into that AEW world title scene yet, I think. So don't keep this man just strictly on ROH. Him doing the double thing like Claudio did, like Jericho is currently doing, like others have done in the past, Eddie Kingston. Have him go back and forth between both shows. But give this man some time to be highlighted as a star. And let him build up his aura, his name, his time on the mic. So that way he gets more comfortable and he can become a bigger star that you can do more with the main titles on the proper show. So but give Hobbs his moment in Texas. And so give him the ROH title. And then that sends us to the AEW Tag Team Championships. And in this match, I have the Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin defending their titles against FTR, against the Young Bucks, and against can't stand that name, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. And in this match, I think you don't reunite them for anything. And this promo, this current week, we just had on Dynamite, FTR and Cope were having their frustrations, and okay, we're gonna go after the trios titles. Well, FTR feels like their time was wasted with Copeland going after the world title. Well, I think Copeland and Christian get the tag titles here, only frustrating FTR more and sending them and us into a fall feud with FTR versus Cope and Christian. I think that is a great way to not only build the story upon those two, but then have that be the divide. And it not be we're going to separate FTR, but it's just, there's frustration between men and their goals, and that's it. And we don't have to hate each other, but I am pissed off at you because I feel like I've wasted my time helping you, and now look, you're getting it my way instead of helping us. So I think it's a very intriguing story, and why not make it a ladder match? Because that's just what they do. Everybody just, Edge and Christian does. Adam Copeland and Christian do ladder matches alongside the Young Bucks. They love a good ladder match as well. So why not have Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley? Bobby Lashley for sure being his first ladder match. Shelton Benjamin. It's been a long time since he had a tag team ladder match, but I think it's a lot of fun. But hey, we move on to the TNT Championship match, a triple threat match between Speedball Mike Bailey. I got Ricochet walking in as champion, and I have Kyle Fletcher walking into the match as well. And I actually have Kyle Fletcher walking out as champion in the end, because I just think in a high-speed, quick match, he'll have the ability to grab the title off of Speedball Mike Bailey in a roll-up or in a quick flurry of moves where Ricochet doesn't get pinned, and maybe we run back Ricochet and Kyle Fletcher, but Kyle Fletcher becoming this more Red Hood, tweener-esque babyface version of himself by that point. I think Ricochet should stay the heel. I think it's fun having him where he's at as a heel character, so I hope that he can build upon that, but he needs to be a champion as well at some point, so why not give him the TNT title and let him feud back and forth with Fletcher for that. Moving on, finally though, I told you it had to happen, but we have the men's casino gauntlet as well tonight, and we got Eddie Kingston, we got Jay White, MJF, Danny Garcia, Will Ospreay, we got Mark Briscoe, Adam Cole, baby, and we got oh, oh, Brody King to round off the Casino Gauntlet. Yeah, there could be other people. Oh, they're never going to get out the match because by the end of this, Will Ospreay is going to win this match, moving forward to challenge for the world title, like I stated earlier, Forbidden Door in London. And he will defeat Swerve Strickland for the AEW world title there, becoming world champion. But that's not it, y'all. We're not done we're not done because we have the pre-show. And on the pre-show, we got the Death Riders versus the Ops for the trios titles. And I think the Ops, they get the trios titles off of the Death Riders. They're the ones that bring it in to the Death Riders group as a whole. And they will disenter and fall apart now that they've lost all the gold. And John has also lost at All In Texas as well. So what do we have after that? We have nothing. So, hey, the group is over. But what do y'all think about my card for All In Texas? What do you think about my directions for some of the shows coming up? I'm just curious to see what the energy is behind AEW and what you all are feeling for the show. So drop a comment below, share this video out, hit like, hit subscribe, check out some of the other videos we have on the channel. We're covering, hey, Jey Uso's rise to the top. We're covering AEW Revolution. We did a review of that. We got a video talking about Naomi